Okay, the second horror film that I've seen recently is Frank Darabont's The Mist. Now, Frank Darabont is the director of The Shawshank Redemption and also The Green Mile, and he hasn't really done many films since then, and The Mist was one of his more recent horror films. And The Mist is, again, based on a Stephen King novel, as was The Green Mile and The Shawshank Redemption, but this time it's a different kind of horror film from what you'd normally see. The premise might make it sound like a regular horror science fiction film, but it isn't, believe me. The Mist is about a father, played wonderfully by Tom Jane, one of my favourite actors, who takes his son to a supermarket after a hurricane has just hit their town. And basically, while at the supermarket, the town suddenly becomes enveloped by this huge mist cloud. And so, just as they're about to leave the store to try and get to their car, a man comes screaming out of the mist saying, monsters, monsters. So they basically, about 100 people are trapped in this store. Some have left, but whenever they try to leave the store and get to their cars, although we don't see anything, we hear screams of agony, pain, and whatnot. So The Mist is a horror film on many levels. It is a science fiction horror film. There are aliens involved, but it is more about how these 100 people act in the store as time passes. I think it's a perfect example of how human beings can become so stupid when they are unable to explain what they see before them, how quickly they can fear anything, how quickly they can lose rationality. And I love that line from Men in Black where Will Smith asks Tommy Lee Jones, why don't you tell these people aliens exist? And Tommy Lee Jones basically replies saying, yeah, a person is smart, but people are dumb, panicky, dim-witted, and fearful. And he's right, and we see it in The Mist. Although it's a film, we see how people's attitudes to things can change so quickly, and how they can turn to faith because they are unable to explain events scientifically. And The Mist is an ensemble film. Tom Jane is the main character, but there are other people who, like, there's a store clerk, there's another female customer who sort of becomes the love interest. They all become interesting characters in their own right, and they all have the same amount of screen time. And there's a wonderful cameo by the actor who was in Fantastic Four 2, who plays the stupid general who won't listen and gets killed by Victor Von Doom. I forget his name, but he's a wonderful actor, and he's got a great part in this. But there is an actress who's been in many Christopher Guest comedies, who plays this religious woman, in this insanely religious woman, like pure hardcore Old Testament, God wants a sacrifice kind of woman. And basically, she believes the mist is the beginning of the apocalypse, and that it's God punishing the sinners. And at first, everyone's like, just shut up, lady, no one believes you. And then, as the days go by, she starts getting followers, she starts getting believers, until it comes to the point where she is the most powerful woman in the store. And that's a wonderful example of these people who at the start of the film you'd think are like-minded and rational and, you know, talk sense, and then by the end of the film they're raving for blood sacrifice because it's what she wants. And this is spoiler territory now, so stop watching this. Basically, she is such a bitch. She's played wonderfully, but you really just want to slap this woman. And eventually, towards the end, Tom Jane and about only 4 other people who have still really kept their sanity are trying to leave the store, and when they do, this woman and her followers try to stop her. And basically she thinks that if a sacrifice is made every night, the mist will keep them safe. And they want to sacrifice Tom Jane's 8-year-old boy. And of course, to me, that was, you bitch. So basically, she gets shot in the head twice by the store clerk. And that is one of the most awesome moments I've ever seen in a film. And I was just shouting at the screen, going, yes, die! Because she is such a horrible character. And if you watch this film, you will wish, you know, she would die immediately. So basically, what is the mist? The mist was caused by a military experiment gone horribly wrong, but the military basically wanted to open up a portal to alternate universes, and they did. and something came through which they didn't expect. Not that we see any of this. This is told through a Marine soldier who's also trapped in the store. And basically, it's assumed that the mist is just the common atmosphere of this alternate universe, and it's overrun by hundreds of different creatures. So we're not talking about one alien species that's taken over the planet. We're talking about hundreds of different types of. It's like a brand new ecosystem is taking over our world. So we've got these sort of flying creatures, we've got these mutated spider creatures, and there's a bit of a homage to Aliens when it's revealed one of these Marines' spiders start coming from his chest, and his whole body's used as a sort of carrier for them. And it's like a zoo, a completely alien zoo is taking over the world, and that's refreshing as opposed to, like I just said, one single alien species. But The Mist isn't really about the aliens, it is about human beings and how they react in these situations, and how some overcome and how others turn to faith. And because the cast is so well done, you root for these characters, you really do. I really wanted Tom Jane to survive, and I really wanted that bitch to die. And at the end of the film, Tom Jane and 4 other people get into his car and they start driving away. And their theory is, we'll drive out of the mist, we'll get out, it can't go on forever. But they run out of gas eventually after hours and hours of driving. And they're still trapped in the mist, and so Tom Jane just pulls out this revolver which only has 4 bullets, and there are 5 people. Now, I was talking to a friend about this film, and he basically said in the book, in the Stephen King book, the last line in the entire story is Tom Jane looking at his gun, and then looking at everyone in the car and then saying, I'll figure something out. And that's when the book ends. Now, I wasn't aware of that when I first saw the film, and the film ending, again, major spoiler, so stop, you know, if you want to see the film. But at the end, they're trapped in the mist, and he pulls out this gun. And then he shoots his son, and this woman, and these 2 elderly people who escaped with him. And he's racked with guilt, he's furious, and he walks out of his car and starts screaming at the mist because he wants an alien to kill him. And then he hears this low rumbling sound, and as he turns, we see this military tank appear out of the mist, and then followed by hundreds of soldiers, followed by trucks with survivors, followed by, you know, decontamination people. And it's just the most heartbreaking ending and most infuriating ending, because he's just killed his only son, his wife's already dead, he's killed 3 other people, and if he had waited 2 minutes, then the rescue team would have saved them all. And it is, the ending, I was shouting at the TV screen. This film, I haven't reacted to a film like this in a very long time. I was so into it and so interested, and the ending just tore me apart. Oh my god, I felt so sorry for Tom Jane. But you know, I think the book ending is clever because you can decide what will happen, and maybe some people didn't like the ending of the film because it kind of took the mystery out of the ending from the book. But I just thought that was a very, very, very clever way to end the film, but also a very, very heart-wrenching one. And Tom Jane is what really sells it. You know, you really believe that he is a father and that all he wants is his son to be safe and they can escape. And I love Tom Jane. Ever since seeing The Punisher, I think he's a fantastic actor. And one of my favourite films, which no one I know ever likes, is Mutant Chronicles. And I love that movie, and I recently got a work experience offer from the director, probably because I'm the only fan of it, which I'm going to be taking up soon. But Tom Jane is excellent in both films, and he's also excellent in The Mist, and I really want to check out other stuff he's been in. So, The Mist, go watch.